The Parable of the Pipeline by Burke Hedges begins with a question. Are you hauling buckets or building pipelines? Imagine this: you work hard every day, giving it your all to earn a living. But no matter how much effort you put in, it feels like a never-ending grind. What if there was a way to break free from the cycle of trading time for money? A way to build a system that works for you, even when you're not working. This is the heart of the Parable of the Pipeline. It's a powerful story about two men, Pablo and Bruno, and how their contrasting choices reveal the secret to long-term financial independence and freedom. This book holds the key to understanding how to create lasting wealth, not by working harder but by working smarter. If you've ever felt stuck in your career or are looking for a way to break free from the limitations of traditional employment, this story will resonate with you deeply. It's not just about making money, it's about transforming the way you think about work, income, and the future. Let's dive into the journey of Pablo and Bruno and the life-changing lessons we can learn from them. The tale of two men, Pablo and Bruno. In a small village, two friends, Pablo and Bruno, were given the same opportunity. The village desperately needed water, and they were hired to carry buckets from a nearby river to the village well. It was hard, back-breaking work, but it paid them well, and both men were happy to earn a living. But after several months of hauling heavy buckets, Pablo began to feel restless. He realized that while they were being paid daily for their labor, they were only as good as their ability to work. If they fell ill or became too tired, the money would stop. He worried about his future and what would happen if he could no longer haul water. That's when an idea struck him. What if, instead of carrying buckets, he built a pipeline from the river to the village? It would take time, patience, and a lot of hard work upfront. But once the pipeline was complete, water would flow to the village without any more effort on his part. He'd have a continuous stream of income, even when he wasn't working. Bruno, on the other hand, was content with carrying buckets. He loved the immediate reward of a day's work and was skeptical of Pablo's pipeline idea. He couldn't understand why anyone would put in so much extra work when they were already being paid well. Bruno laughed at Pablo's plan, choosing instead to spend his free time enjoying the fruits of his labor, building the pipeline, the long-term vision. While Bruno hauled buckets day in and day out, Pablo started working on his pipeline in his spare time. He continued to carry buckets for income, but dedicated a few hours each day to digging and laying the foundation for his pipeline. It was slow, tiring work, and for a long time, there was no visible reward. But Pablo kept his eye on the prize. He knew that once the pipeline was complete, his days of hard labor would be over. Bruno, meanwhile, continued to earn money quickly but spent it just as fast. He worked harder and harder, but the more he earned, the more he spent. He was stuck in the cycle of trading time for money. As months turned into years, Pablo's pipeline began to take shape. It wasn't easy, and there were times when he doubted himself. But he stayed committed to his vision. Finally, after years of perseverance, the pipeline was complete. Water flowed freely from the river to the village, and Pablo no longer had to carry buckets. His hard work had paid off. He had created a system that generated income, even when he wasn't working. Bruno, on the other hand, was content with carrying buckets. He loved the immediate reward of a day's work and was skeptical of Pablo's pipeline idea. He couldn't understand why anyone would put in so much extra work when they were already being paid well. Bruno laughed at Pablo's plan, choosing instead to spend his free time enjoying the fruits of his labor, building the pipeline, the long-term vision. While Bruno hauled buckets day in and day out, Pablo started working on his pipeline in his spare time. He continued to carry buckets for income, but dedicated a few hours each day to digging and laying the foundation for his pipeline. It was slow, tiring work, and for a long time, there was no visible reward. But Pablo kept his eye on the prize. He knew that once the pipeline was complete, his days of hard labor would be over. Bruno, meanwhile, continued to earn money quickly but spent it just as fast. He worked harder and harder, but the more he earned, the more he spent. He was stuck in the cycle of trading time for money. As months turned into years, Pablo's pipeline began to take shape. It wasn't easy, and there were times when he doubted himself. But he stayed committed to his vision. Finally, after years of perseverance, the pipeline was complete. Water flowed freely from the river to the village, and Pablo no longer had to carry buckets. His hard work had paid off. He had created a system that generated income, even when he wasn't working. The bucket carrying trap. The story of Pablo and Bruno highlights a critical distinction between the mindset of the bucket carrier and the pipeline builder. Most people, like Bruno, are stuck in the bucket carrying trap. They trade their time and labor for money, never realizing that time is finite, and there's a limit to how much they can work. They get caught in a cycle of working harder, earning more, and spending more, with no end in sight. This book is a wake-up call to those who are stuck in this trap. It challenges the traditional thinking that working harder will lead to success. Instead, Hedges argues that building a pipeline, a system that generates income over time, is the real path to financial freedom. Whether it's creating passive income streams, starting a business, or investing, the key is to stop relying solely on your labor and start creating systems that work for you. Why you should read this book? So, why should you read The Parable of the Pipeline? If you've ever found yourself working tirelessly, only to feel like you're not getting ahead, this book offers a blueprint for breaking free. It's not just a story, it's a mindset shift. Hedges shows that the secret to wealth isn't found in working harder but in working smarter. By building pipelines, you can create a life where your income isn't limited by your time and energy. Whether you're a small business owner, an employee, or an entrepreneur, the lessons in this book apply to everyone. It's about leveraging your time and efforts today to create financial security and freedom for the future. If you're tired of being stuck in the rat race and want to build a life where your money works for you, this book is an essential read. Key lessons from The Parable of the Pipeline. The story of Pablo and Bruno isn't just a simple tale of two men with different strategies. It carries profound lessons on how to approach work, money, and long-term wealth creation. Each lesson from The Parable of the Pipeline provides valuable insights into building a life where financial independence is not just a dream, but a reality. Let's break down these lessons and explore how they can be applied in today's world. 1. Stop trading time for money. One of the most significant takeaways from the story is the understanding that trading time for money is an inherently flawed strategy. Bruno, who chose to haul buckets of water daily, represents the vast majority of people who exchange their time for a paycheck. In this system, your income is directly tied to the number of hours you work, and that's a trap. There are only so many hours in a day, and thus, a cap on how much you can earn. When you trade time for money, your income potential is limited by your physical capacity to work. For many, this means that when they stop working, whether due to illness, vacation, or retirement, their income stops too. This dependency on labor keeps people stuck in a cycle of always needing to work to earn. On the other hand, Pablo understood that if he built a pipeline, he could generate a stream of income without having to rely solely on his time and physical effort. His long-term thinking led him to develop a system where money would flow in, even when he wasn't actively working. Application in real life. To break out of the time for money trap, look for ways to create passive income streams. This can be through investments, owning a business, rental properties, or creating content that generates income over time, like writing a book or building a digital product. The key is to focus on building systems that work for you while you sleep. 2. Think long-term. Building a pipeline takes time, effort, and vision. Pablo's approach required long-term thinking and a willingness to endure short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. He knew that carrying buckets was a quick way to make money, but he also understood that it wasn't sustainable. Many people, like Bruno, are trapped in short-term thinking. They want immediate rewards and quick payoffs. But the reality is, most significant and lasting success comes from thinking beyond the next paycheck. Pablo invested time and effort into building his pipeline because he saw the bigger picture. Once it was built, it would pay off indefinitely. Application in real life. To adopt a long-term mindset, you must be willing to delay gratification. This might mean investing money into a business that won't be profitable for years, or putting aside a portion of your income for retirement instead of spending it now. Long-term planning requires patience and perseverance, but the rewards are far greater than any short-term win. 3. Leverage passive income. The concept of passive income is central to the message of The Parable of the Pipeline. Passive income is money that flows in without continuous effort. Once Pablo's pipeline was built, he no longer needed to haul buckets of water. The water flowed automatically, and with it came a steady income, regardless of whether he was working or not. This is the holy grail of financial freedom, generating income without having to work continuously for it. Passive income can come from various sources, such as investments, real estate, digital products, or businesses that don't require your constant attention. Application in real life: look for ways to build passive income streams. This could involve starting a side hustle that can eventually run without your day-to-day involvement, investing in stocks or real estate, or creating something once that can be sold over and over again. The more passive income streams you have, the less reliant you become on your active labor for financial security. 4. Don't be afraid to work hard at first. Building a pipeline isn't easy. Pablo's journey was long, and there were moments of doubt, frustration, and exhaustion. He had to keep working at his bucket-carrying job while simultaneously building his pipeline in his spare time. This required discipline, determination, and hard work. The key lesson here is that hard work is necessary at the start, but it's an investment in future freedom. Bruno, on the other hand, worked hard his entire life but never escaped the cycle of labor. Pablo's hard work was focused on building a system that would eventually free him from that cycle. Application in real life: understand that building a business or an income-generating system takes hard work upfront. Many people give up too soon because they expect quick results. Be prepared to work hard initially, knowing that the effort will pay off in the future when your system starts generating income on its own. 5. Avoid the instant gratification trap. Bruno's biggest mistake was his desire for instant gratification. He earned money quickly by hauling buckets and spent it just as fast. He was focused on enjoying life in the moment, without considering the long-term consequences of his choices. He laughed at Pablo's pipeline idea because it seemed like too much effort for a payoff that wasn't immediate. But instant gratification is often the enemy of long-term success. Those who seek quick rewards may find themselves stuck in the same place for years, never really progressing financially or personally. Application in real life: delaying gratification is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. This might mean saving and investing money instead of spending it on luxuries, or putting in the extra hours to build a business instead of opting for easy, quick cash. The key is to think about the long-term payoff instead of being seduced by immediate rewards. 6. Build a system that works for you. At its core, the parable of the pipeline is about the power of systems. Pablo's pipeline was a system that continued to generate income long after he stopped working on it. This is the true secret to financial freedom: creating something that works for you instead of you constantly working for it. Bruno never escaped the bucket-carrying job because he didn't build a system. He was caught in the cycle of trading time for money, whereas Pablo's system freed him from that dependency. Application in real life: to create a system, think about how you can automate processes in your life and business. This might involve building a team, outsourcing tasks, or creating a product that continues to sell without your constant involvement. The goal is to set up structures that allow you to step back and still generate income or results. By applying these lessons from the parable of the pipeline, you can shift your mindset from short-term gains to long-term wealth-building strategies. These principles teach us that true financial freedom is not about how hard you work but how smartly you use your time, resources, and energy to build systems that work for you. Final thoughts: the parable of the pipeline is more than just a story. It's a blueprint for transforming your financial future. Whether you're just starting your career or looking for ways to build wealth, the lessons from this book will help you shift your mindset and focus on building long-term, sustainable success. By understanding the difference between hauling buckets and building pipelines, you can start creating the financial freedom you deserve. This book is essential reading for anyone who wants to break free from the limitations of traditional employment and build a life where their money works for them, not the other way around. The story of Pablo and Bruno is a timeless reminder that hard work alone isn't enough. It's about working smarter, building systems, and creating the financial independence that allows you to live life on your terms.